In our final Gmail video, we're going to take a look at how you can continue to customize your Google email, not just in the looks, but also in some of the filters. So one of the things that we did in a previous video was we separated our unread messages from those that we've already read. And that was done by going into Settings, clicking on our inbox, and changing it from default to the unread first. Another thing you can control is how many of those messages are actually going to appear in those various sections. So by default, 25 items are going to show in both your read and your unread. So when I come back to my inbox, you'll notice that my inbox actually has 47, but only 25 are showing. I can click on this and get more messages to show, or I can change that setting right here by telling it to show 50 items, for example. Okay. Another thing that you'll notice is that all of my messages have this little yellow tag here. When I hover over it, you'll see that it's called, or it's been filtered as being important, and it has to do with some of the wording that's in the message. Now, it says that Pickerington Local School is filtering this. We really aren't. It's just a Google algorithm that looks at all the different messages and says, okay, this looks to be rather important. In my mind, if all of them are marked important, then really none of them are important. So I'm going to turn that feature off completely. So I'll go back into my settings, go back into the inbox, and where it has the important markers, I'm just going to say no markers because I don't really want it to do that. So as I change the savings or save the changes, now when I go back to the inbox, I'm not going to have to even worry about that showing up. Another thing that is done automatically is emails are categorized as they come in. And when you go over here to the side, you'll find you might have to scroll up or down depending on how you have this index set up, but you'll find something called categories. And when you click on that and open it, you'll see that Google has created multiple categories, and it identifies the incoming mail as to which sort of category it should go under. So if you have something that comes in from, let's say, Facebook or Twitter accounts, those messages would go under the social because of them being from a social network. You might find promotions coming from maybe sales vendors or some of the other emails that you get because you've ordered some of your school supplies from them. You might have families show up, forums. In my case, I've got 3 of them marked as updates. And so those are ones that when I click on it, I see that they're showing up here. It has something to do with probably some calendars or something, or invitations of some sort. Right? If I want those to show all the time, I can click on this little drop down here and tell it to show in the message list. And now you'll see that the word updates is showing here. Now these are categories that Google has set up. You can create your own categories that will do some of your own filtering. For example, let's say that you share a document with your students and you want them to do some editing on it, or the other way around. Let's say your students create a document and they want to share it with you. And every time somebody shares a document with someone else, by default, it will send that person who's having the document shared, it'll send them an email notifying them that someone has shared a document with them. That's some of these notifications that I've received up here. Well, that's okay if you're getting a few every once in a while, but if you're having 2 or 3 of your classes share documents with you, suddenly you're going to have 100 emails from students saying that they've shared something with you. One of the things that I've done is I've set up a filter for student emails, and what this will do is it will automatically route any emails coming in from a student into this folder rather than my inbox. And that can be set up for a lot of a lot of different things. Maybe you have a particular electronic newsletter that comes to you on a weekly basis. I know I've got some technology education newsletters that come to me, and they send me some emails letting me know that there's a new article out or something like that. Well, it might be a couple of weeks before I can actually get to those, and I don't want them cluttering up my inbox. So I can create this folder over here and have those emails automatically go there instead of showing up in my inbox. And I'll show you briefly how we do that, but we'll also have some written instructions that show the step-by-step on how to do this. But essentially what you're going to do is you're going to select that particular email, whether you actually have it open or whether you just come in and just check it, either way, so that you've got these options up here. And so what I did in this case was I created a new label and I called it Students. And once I created that, I went under More and I went to Filter Messages like these. And then I deleted out the student's name and just left the @students.plsd.us. Now the filter that I create will apply to all messages coming in from this domain, which is what our students use. All right. So once I've put in that last part of it, then I'll go over to create a filter with this search. And you can see that there were also other search options in terms of maybe what subject matters or has certain words, attachments, any of these things that you want to have automatically go to one of your labels. So I create a filter with this search, and I'll tell it to skip the inbox. In other words, it's going to archive it so that I can always access it, but it's going to immediately put it into the label that I've created called Students. And then, in this case, since I already have 5 matching conversations or matching messages from that filter of @students.plsd, I would tell it to apply the filter to all of those, and then I would create the filter. Right. When I did that, after doing that, I received several more emails from students. They automatically went here. When I clicked on that, I can now see those messages, and they never did show up in my inbox. The final thing we're going to look at is customizing your background and creating the theme that you like to look at. So when you go back into your settings gear and go into themes, you'll see that there are a lot of pre-made themes available for you to choose. Now, I think you have to be careful because in some cases some of these are pretty busy, and you want to be able to select a theme that is going to look good, but at the same time you have to be able to read the text that's on in your email. And if you put something on like a beach, you might find yourself leaving your email and going into a travel website and looking for beachfront condominiums to rent in the spring. And then you'll never get your email read. So be a little bit careful about what theme you choose. Now you can go down into custom themes, and when you go into a custom theme, it gives you the opportunity to select a background image, and then you can actually use one of your own background, one of your own pictures in the background if you choose. I personally like to keep it a little bit more simple, and so I go to one of these themes here, and it gives me a nice clean background without a lot of distractions.